Hello everybody, we are back again with another deck profile. It's finally done. EX5 is officially out, and we get to finally play with all the cards that we want before the ban comes out on March 1st. Now, I think that this will be the deck I take to Nationals. It's either this one or my Mastemon deck. Currently, I'm locked in with this Garurumon deck. So I'm going to go through it, show you what I've got in it. So in case you're trying to build your own Garurumon deck, you can get started on it. Keeping in mind, though, with this one, this is without the ban list that comes out on March 1st. So you will notice I am running a couple things that are going to be limited to one pretty soon. So, but for now, we're going to start with our eggs because we always do. We are running 4 of the Sunamon, the ST16 one. Now, I do have the other one as well, and I know there's a lot of talk between which Sunamon is the better one. I find this one's a little bit more beneficial for my playstyle because I tend to attack multiple times, and the Sunamon is when attacking just in general, not necessarily a when attacking once per turn. So what's nice about the Sunamon is that as long as you have 6 or fewer cards, you get to draw 1. So it's really great for filtering cards, acquiring cards, and getting what you need, especially from the deck here. So those are my eggs. Moving on to our lovely grade 3, or level 3s, I should say here. We have a couple different ones that we're running. The first, of course, is we are running a lot of Gabus. I like to call this my Gabubaby deck because I like to... Like, Gabumon's really cute, and I just think Gabubaby just seems to fit. I don't know, it's just me. But we are running one of the BT2s. This one is restricted to 1 because of its on-deletion effect. So it is limited. It is a very dangerous card a lot of times. So the draw 2 and trash 1 is always super nice. Again, it's helping you gather cards into your hand as well as filter alt cards. So you can kind of filter through your trash as you need. So super useful there. We are also running the ST6 Gabumon, which again... similar thing as to why it's limited to 1 is because of the when attacking draw 1. It's not a once per turn effect. It is a full on whenever you attack and this is underneath, it gets that draw 1 trash 1, which really helps you get that filtration that you're looking for, especially to get things into your trash. So that way you can pull it out of your trash, you know, or count your cards in your trash and then gain memory from your trash. You know, depending on your playstyle will determine kind of how that works. The next one here we are running are, of course, 4 of the beautiful ST16 Gabumons. These are a when attacking once per turn inheritance, which is awesome. But what's also great about these is their start of main phase ability. These Gabumons actually have the ability to gain a memory so long as your opponent has a Digimon on the field. So very useful, meaning that essentially if you have all the cards in your hand that you need to build up to your Metal Garurumons, you can actually pull this out and get that 1 extra piece of memory to kind of build you up from there. And that's, you know, we like that. That's pretty good. Of course, again, as I mentioned before, this is restrictions and ban list on March 1st. So I am running, in fact, 4 of the Gabu X antibodies. This is a very, very overpowered card, which is amazing for the deck. I wish that it wasn't restricted, but eventually it will be. Of course, not only is it a when digivolving effect and not digivolving for 0 off of Gabumon, it also contains a on play as well. So the on play and when digivolving effect, which is really great if you're in a pinch, you don't have your Gabumon in the back, or maybe you don't have a Gabumon on the field, or maybe you're missing some cards. It's a really cheap cost to play with it being just 3 and you being able to just kind of activate the effect of revealing the top 4 and adding 2 cards and then trashing the rest at the bottom of the deck and then trashing 1 card in your hand, right? So it's pretty good to use, and the inheritable is obviously amazing. So long as you have a Garurumon or an Omnimon in its name, you can actually return 2 cards from the trash back to the bottom of your deck to effectively preserve or save yourself from getting deleted by battle. So that's always great when you're swinging into security. You can put 2 cards from your trash back into your deck. That effect also really helps if you're running low on cards in your deck, it's actually pretty useful to like delete, and then you can just kind of get a couple extra cards in there, which is really awesome. Our final level 3 of the set is actually Psychmon. This was a tough choice for me. I had a lot of different card ideas with this, ranging from having a purple memory boost to having Garurumon on as well for the inheritable. But I did decide that Psychmon for Nationals may be the best option. Was that or Digi-evolution effects? It was a hard decision, but I decided on Psychmon just in case I'm facing some more like Crossheart or any that are very much a play cost effect deck. With that being said, Psychmon won't be too much of an issue on my end of thing unless it's reducing play cost, so I can always end up Digivolving on top of it so that I can eliminate the effect for myself and then go from there and get what I need out as fast as I can. Moving on to our level 4s, we are running 2 ST6 Garurumons. This is for the inheritable, which is awesome. In itself, it's a when attacking trigger draw 1 trash 1. This does not have a once per turn effect on it, which means that yes, you can attack multiple times and get that draw 1 trash 1, which is pretty amazing if you ask me. I'm here for it, especially because once we get into those level 4 and level 5 and level 6 X antibodies, we start to see that unsuspending effect to give us that bonus swing, and then we get that extra filtration there, which is great. We are running 4 of the ST16 Garurumons. These are a great option for not only they're when Digivolving, like they're when Digivolving, it's only a cost of 2, it's not an expensive Digi-evolution, but also because of the security effect. So very good if these end up in your security because you can play a Gabumon or a Mat without paying the memory cost, which is super great as long as it's from your hand or trash. And then of course you have your draw 1, trash 1 from the Digivolve, and you also have the once per turn when attacking draw 1 and trash 1. So it kind of works the same as the Garurumon, except for the fact that this is only a once per turn inheritance rather than a every time like these ones up here. So it kind of gets you there, which is pretty good. Then, of course, we have our other, again, not yet restricted, but will be soon, Garurumon X antibody. I am running 4 of these for Nationals because I feel like we're going to need all hands on deck for this, which is fine by me. So it does have when Digivolving, draw 2, then trash 2 from your hand. If there is the Garurumon or an X antibody underneath this Digi-evolution, you can gain 1 memory. So kind of like the start of your turn Gabumon, you're getting that extra memory as you need to. So it's really nice to kind of Digivolve on top of a Garurumon for 0 and then go from there, or even X antibody attack and have it suspended Digivolved, and then you can get that extra memory to keep turn sometimes. It's very useful in that sense. And of course, the inheritance, again, similar to Gabumon X antibody, is the idea that if this would be deleted in battle or by battle, and it has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, you can return 2 non-Digi-egg cards from the trash, from the trash into the deck, and then essentially save yourself that Digimon from being deleted. So that's always good. And it's not just, the nice part about it is it's non-Digi-egg cards. It doesn't specify Digimon specifically. It's just non-Digi-egg. So I could put my option cards back into my deck if I want and start stacking up my deck to have a lot of option cards to help me draw into them later. I could put back my Gabumon so I could start Digivolving in the back. It's got a lot of options. So it is pretty good, which is why it is a great card. On to our level 5s. Again, we are running 4 War Garurumons. Our level 5s are actually pretty quick to go through, but we're running 4 War Garurumons. These are your when attacking once per turn. You can trash a card to unsuspend it, which is amazing. All too often, I find myself swinging with this. If I have the right cards underneath, like at least the Gabu X Ante or Garuru X Ante, I find myself swinging, feeling pretty confident with this, and then trashing a card to unsuspend and triggering all the inheritables underneath. And that is pretty good. So that is why we're running 4 of those. And then what would we be if we didn't run the 4 War Garurumon X antibodies? So this, of course, is allowing you to unsuspend by trashing 2 cards, which effectively, depending on if you time it right, can get you an extra swing out of this, because you can swing, unsuspend it, swing, X antibody, unsuspend it, and you get that nice little, that second swing safely and being able to unsuspend. Or you can swing twice with this, Digivolve, trash 2 cards, unsuspend. Either work. You don't have to go right away into it if you don't want to, or depending on what you're facing. So yeah, so this is always a great card to do. The Inheritable is pretty good too, because it's a once per turn. You can unsuspend the Digimon by trashing 1 card from your hand, so long as the Digimon on top in the evolution at the top is your Garurumon or Omnimon in its name. So this is a very good card to kind of get you into that unsuspending and reswinging phase as we want to see. Which again, remember, if you have this Gabumon underneath, you always guarantee that draw 1, trash 1 filtration, which is always amazing. And if you're doing pretty well with the filtration side of things, you should roughly still maintain, you know, 6, 5. I find myself often with either 5 cards, 6 cards, or 4 sometimes, too, depending on what's happened against my opponent. So I find that, again, based on my playstyle, the Sunamon ST16 really works for me, at least in my style. But yeah, so moving on to our level 6s, we are running our Metal Garurumon Ace. We're only running 3 of this. And part of the reason for that is the overflow. Obviously, it is a 4 memory of 4 overflow, meaning I would give my opponent, or I would give, or lose, sorry, 4 memory, which could potentially pass turn. But the bigger reason is actually because of our X antibodies. We can still Digivolve from our level 5s into our X antibodies, especially if we do have the X antibody option card underneath, or we have Protoform as well. So once those are kind of in and we start getting into these level 6s, we still can get the Digi-evolution going within some ranges to help make it a little bit easier. This is always great, though, to get turn back to your end. Obviously, the most common way to use it is to get turn back to your end. I've also found it useful to, like, let's say I'm at kind of 0 memory. I Digivolve into Metal Garuru and then trash my 3 cards to keep turn just a little bit longer, get that extra swing in, and then maybe go into Omni X or go into our Blitz Omni. It just depends on the situation, or even sometimes into our Metal Garurumon X Antis, which you're going to see in a minute. So it is a very useful card. Also with this, you get the added benefit of when attacking once per turn, you can trash a card to delete an opponent's Digimon with the lowest level. So if you're dealing with, you know, someone who has a lot of level 3s on their field and they're playing wide, but they don't have they have consistency within it, you can actually delete one of them, and it helps make it a lot easier. Or you can delete a big body if it's the lowest level in the field. Like if all they have is Death X on the field, bye-bye, there it goes. You know, it's pretty fun to see. Moving on, we are running 1 blue-purple Metal Garuru X antibody. I find that this one I tend to use more if I'm trying to stay on a defensive side versus an offensive side. So I only feel like 1, for me, again, based on my playstyle, 1 is enough for me on this one. It's very good when you're in a pinch and you want your opponent to effectively have to lose a bunch of memory, because it does have that on Digivolve. You have your opponents, when attacking, lose 4 memory. So if they choose to attack, they get that lose 4 memory. And that goes across all of their opponents' Digimon, not just 1. It's all opponents' Digimon when attacking lose 4 memory. And then, of course, with this, you have your own when attacking is by returning a card from your trash to the bottom of your deck. You can delete an opponent's Digimon with the same level as that card. So you could choose to return a level 6 back from your deck and be able to delete a level 6. Now, the catch with this wording is that it's not up to the grade, or up to the level, sorry. It's only that level. So you have to be really mindful of what you are returning from your trash to your deck with this one, because you could, you know, put a level 6 in, but if they don't have any level 6s, then it does not trigger anything. So be very mindful on how you're trying to play this and what you're trying to get rid of. I've played this against the All Force deck, and I'm thinking now, I'm like, I could get rid of Budoki Betamon for memory gain very easily with that. So that's pretty fun. So yeah, you can like get rid of a Gazimon if it's on the field with that effect, which is pretty good. I am now onto our other X antibody. I am running 2 of these because this is what I'm really trying to get to as fast as I can, which is our good friend Metal Garuru BT9 version, the unsuspending blocker and bouncing all of your opponent's lowest levels to their owner's hand. So this one is all of your opponent's levels that are the lowest to the hand, whereas the other one is just 1. And then, of course, you get that unsuspend. It's only a 1 cost. I think they're both only 1 cost, but yeah, they're all only 1 cost if you go on top of your Metal Guru. Yeah, this card is pretty good because you get that unsuspend, you get that extra swing. Theoretically, if you are on a different turn and you're digivolving into this and you haven't used your Word Garurumon effect, you can restand and swing again, which is so cool. So that is why we are running 2 of those. I do like the slightly more offense play that this has, giving me that unsuspend, whereas the other one doesn't have that unsuspend option. Then onto our level 7s, we are of course running Omnimon and Omnimon X Antibody. It's of course with the deck, a lot of this specifies if you have Garurumon or Omnimon in its name. So what better way to keep that trend going by playing more Omnimons? So of course we have the Omnimon with Blitz. This lets you unsuspend, and when it's unsuspended, you can actually return, if it's getting deleted, you can actually return something to the owner's hand or deck by trashing a level 6 card. So you can preserve yourself 1 last time there, which is pretty good. But only by effect, not by battle. So keep that in mind. If they're going to bounce this, it has to be by effect, not by battle, in order to save Mr. Omnimon. But what I am finding that I'm using a lot more in my playstyle is the Omnimon X Antibody, because of its looking at the security and trashing a card. I tend to use this as kind of my lethal turn, on top of one of my Metal Garuru X's, or even my Metal Garurumon if it calls for it. So I do find that this is a super useful card to have. I find that I'm often using it more than the Omnimon. Just because, again, I feel like the Omnimon is a bit more on the defensive side, so it kind of pairs more here, whereas the X Antibody is more on the offensive side, allowing you that extra swing for game if you have your X Anti underneath. So it's pretty good there. What else is there here that you might want to know about this card? If you have X Antibody in your traits, you can reduce it by 2, so instead of costing 7, it can cost 5. So it does reduce that a little bit more for you, considering we're not running as many Omnimons. Or, of course, you can Digivolve for 3 on top of your Omnimon if you so choose to. So yeah, it's pretty nice to have that by returning, by placing a level 6 card from the Digi-evolution to the bottom of the owner's deck. I can look at all of the security cards of my opponent and trash one of them. So it's great for last play game if you're swinging with, for example, let's say we're swinging with Garurumon X Antibody and we have the X Antibody card underneath. We can effectively Digivolve immediately in, cause that effect of the security check, and swing for game all in one go. So I do like that effect about the X Antibody. I didn't think I'd enjoy it at first, but I actually really do. So I like it. It stays in my deck. It's how it is. Onto our Tamers. We are running 2 mats. This is a tricky one because I don't think I need more than 2. I don't feel like I do, if that makes sense. I know that some people will run 3, but for me, I feel like 2 is just enough because it doesn't really provide me with any searching options, but it does give me the all turns of being able to gain 1 memory if something trashes from my hand. So if for some reason I'm facing a Galgamon deck, I think. Is it Galgamon? I believe it's Galgamon. That has the how many cards do you have in hand, return 8 to your trash or return to your deck. It doesn't work for the deck portion, but it will work for anything that is causing it to be trashed. So I could sometimes pass turn back to my side, which is pretty amazing. The other one we are running, I don't know why they're flipped here, but that's okay. We're running 2 Analog Youth. Again, this is kind of where I'm in this, like, I could run 1 Analog Youth. I could run 2. And right now, my playstyle just calls for 2. I do like the searching effect and getting things into the trash here with the Analog Youth. So I find that part very effective for searching, especially for its cost of 2 to find and reveal 3 cards. Yeah, so I think that that's pretty good for searching. And if you're in a pinch, it's really good to help kind of pass turn and leave your opponent with very little memory if you have it as your only option. And then, of course, you have your, when a level 5 or higher is deleted, you can suspend it and gain a memory. And again, you can start to pass turn that way. And it's effective all turns, not just on your turn. And then you can hatch a Digi-egg if you don't have any Digis in your zone. So I do like the Analog Youth right now for its searching ability. But I could swap that out for either like another Cool Boy or another Matt if I want, or an option. It just really depends on the playstyle, and this seems to work for me pretty well. So our next and final Tamer set is the Cool Boy. We're running just 2 of them here. Again, very cheap cost, good searcher, gets us the X antibodies that we need. So as long as X antibody is in its traits, we're pretty good there. Or a card, an option card with X antibody. So I can grab my X antibodies as I need to. So that's pretty good. We love that. I can grab all of my rookies that are X antibody. I can reward Garurumons. I can grab anything that says X antibody, which is quite a bit on this field. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. So Cool Boy is really great for that. Also, of course, when you are digivolving from the same name into the X antibody, you get that gain 1 memory and draw for it. So that draw, again, drawing and trashing is what we are all about in this deck. And finally, I'm running out of space, as you can see, but we have our option cards. We are running 4 beautiful wisdom trainings because these are, again, cheap cost searcher with a perk. We love it. Unlike the Purple Memory Boost, there we go. Took a minute, brain fart. Purple Memory Boost, of course, costs 3, and you can reveal 4 cards to grab purple. With the Wisdom Trainings, it only reveals 2, and you can add 1. Now, what's interesting here is the delay effect, of course, which is you can Digivolve into a purple Digimon card for the Digi-evolution cost being reduced by 2. So it kind of gives you the same delay effect as Purple Memory Boost, meaning that gain 2 memory thing. But it just does it in a different way. It does it specifically for Digivolving, but not so much for like option cards and Tamer cards. So I find that especially with this kind of deck, this is super useful when you're going from level 3 to level 4. Because then you get that free Digivolve and you can use your memory elsewhere in the field, right? You can go from 3 to 4, 4 to 4 for free, gain the memory, and then have maybe enough memory to go here, or even cause some of this stuff to happen back here. So that's why I'm running 4. I think they're very, very good. They're a great new addition to our lovely Digimon card game. I think they're very good. And lastly, this one again, definitely a tough decision. I was toying between 2 protoforms and 1 X antibody and 2 X antibody, 1 protoform, 3 X antibody only, and no protoform. This was definitely a tough call. But we have finally decided on 2 X antibodies and 1 X antibody protoform. I like this. I think this is good, but I do appreciate how the X antibody fully works. So the protoform, of course, lets you do similar to what X antibody does. It allows you to digivolve into an X antibody card with the Digi-evolution cost reduced. So that is a nice part about this. It's reduced, which is great. And then if it did, place this as the bottom of its Digi-evolution. Now, this gets underneath, similar to how this works, but slightly different. But the all turns, that's where we want to be. So the inherited effect is all turns when this would leave the battle area other than by one of your effects. You can bring back 1 Digimon from the Digi-evolution back to your hand, and this goes, or place 1 X antibody at the top of your security stack. So that means that you could literally place this back into your security, no problem, and get it back out if you need, because it just adds to hand, which is the one downside to this. Now, comments, you may have to help me out here. I can't remember if you can stack them off the top of my head, and I will find out immediately after recording this video, because I'm That's the one part that I'm like, my brain cannot remember, but that's okay. I will find out immediately after this video. But if you see it before I comment, let me know, because I would love to hear from you all. But anyhow, so the nice part about this is it gives you a lot more ability to get back something from your Digi-evolution. Let's say I'm missing a particular X antibody or I'm missing something, I can get it back with this. The downside, of course, is from the security, it only adds to hand. You do not gain a memory from it. Whereas, of course, our X antibody friend, this allows us from security to, in fact, grab our good friends from not only adding it to hand, but also gaining memory, which can really do pretty good damage against someone if they leave you at like 0 and they're swinging. So that's always pretty good. And then, of course, you have the alterns. X antibody can't be trashed from the Digi-evolutions. And when attacking, it can Digivolve immediately while attacking into an X antibody. So this is very good if you're going from, Metal Garuru to X antibody, or even from an X antibody to an X antibody. It's very useful to kind of help you out there. Because if you unsuspend with this and X antis underneath, right, you re-swing, go into this guy for the cost, unsuspend, and you're pretty well protected for a little bit longer there. So, yeah. But essentially, gotta find a spot for this. Maybe put it up here. That is what I think is going to be my national deck. So I will let you know how it goes when I go to Nats on, Saturday, because we start Saturday. So I'll let you know how this goes. But that's the deck. So I hope you've enjoyed this deck profile. Please feel free to leave comments, leave suggestions, leave what you might want to see next as a deck profile. I'm down to share a bunch of decks if I can. So let me know what you think. Have fun. Let me know if you have any suggestions. I'm always open to stuff. But anyhow, that is my Gabubaby deck. So I hope you've enjoyed. We will see you next time. Bye!